Hey, St. Luke family. Coming to you from downtown Des Moines tonight. I wanted to talk a little bit about Scooping the Loop. It's something that I did when I was in high school. And, I saw an event on Facebook that was happening in Newton of Scooping the Loop, although I'm not really sure I would call that a loop. I went down there and to see what that was about. Was I guess interesting, but it got me thinking more about what I used to do in high school, which was come down here every weekend and scoop the loop. And I did that with friends all the time. Every weekend we do that, and really enjoyed it back then. We were just wasting time, of course. But the goal when we came down here, we were looking for two things. We were looking for like old muscle cars that were really cool, and we were looking for girls, of course, and we wanted to get noticed. And so that's what you do down here. If you were scooping the loop, you drive around, but you'd also try to get noticed. And I have to admit that I got noticed like twice in the entire time that I would come down here, and neither one of those was when I was in my beat up old 79 Malibu two-tone car that was maroon and rust. And so the only time I got noticed was when I was in a friend's car. I had a friend that had a 1966 Chevy Nova that was restored pretty nicely, and of course when we came down here in that car, that's when we'd get noticed. So mostly it was just a couple of buddies and I driving around, not doing much, wishing that we would get noticed, but it never really happened. We just didn't have what was needed for that. And so here we are downtown, and we're going to scoop the loop once, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that as we go. So let's go ahead and go. I'm not driving, by the way. Wendy's driving, and Nathan and Abby are in the car with me. So it's not very busy tonight, which is a good thing since we're supposed to be social distancing, but since we're in the car by ourselves, I think we're going to be okay. So the idea of this is sort of like a parade, and I've seen news stories recently of teachers that have gone on parade around their students' neighborhoods, and the teachers in Newton did that last week, and I think that's a really great thing. And parades are pretty cool. Again, when you're in a parade, you're trying to get noticed with your signs on the side, or if you're dressed up, or if you're handing out things in the parade, you're trying to get noticed. And that's a really good thing for us. We all enjoy a parade, and right now we're wondering if we're going to be able to do that kind of stuff even by the 4th of July. And so I'm kind of feeling that right now. But the reason why I think I was inspired about this is because this is Palm Sunday weekend, and Palm Sunday was about a parade. Jesus came riding into Jerusalem on a donkey. Now, Jesus attracted a lot of attention wherever he went, and he didn't really need to parade into town in order to do that. People heard that he was coming, and they showed up to see Jesus. But this was Jerusalem, and Jerusalem was used to big spectacles. They were the big city, and so they were used to things like that. And it would take a little bit more to attract that kind of attention. And I don't think that Jesus was really trying to attract the attention, but he knew that this was a special time, and that this was the last time he was going to go into town. And so he got a donkey, and he rode into town on that donkey. And the crowd cheered for him. He definitely got noticed. They treated him as if he were a king, which he was. And but it wasn't the same as when he came into town with the people who really knew him and were following him. It was different. These crowds were different. They came to see the spectacle. They came to get noticed and to notice Jesus. And it is that time when we celebrate his triumphal entry into Jerusalem. But we know that it didn't stop here. that even though he was hailed as a king, that just as quickly as the parade started, the parade would end, and he would not be noticed anymore, that he would lose all of that popularity and the people would turn on him. And so that's what is happening during Holy Week. Now, I think that some of us feel a danger during this time of not being noticed or not being noticed enough because we have to be isolated. And so now more than ever, I'm really kind of getting an understanding of what it must have been like for those followers of Jesus who were scared and didn't want to be seen in the crowd, were really worried about what was going to happen in the next few days. And that's kind of what it feels like right now for us, as we're really scared about what's going on in the world. But the good news is that we know that in a week's time, Easter's going to happen. Resurrection's going to happen. And that brings hope for all of us. That we know that even during this time when we're hiding out and we're making sure that we don't get too close to other people, that's not going to last forever, that this time will end and we will be resurrected, if you will, just as Jesus was on Easter Sunday. So even though we can't be together and we can't wave the palm branches and we can't have a really good time celebrating Palm Sunday and Jesus as King, we can still celebrate together even from this distance. And I look forward to being with you again. And whenever we do get back together again, we will have Easter Sunday and celebrate the new birth that we will have as a people being able to gather together. But until then, would you pray with me? God, we thank you so much for the care that you give to us and for new life that we know is coming. And so even in this dark time, when we are not noticed and when we aren't getting exactly what we need, we thank you that you are with us and that you notice us. Amen. Thank you for being with me, and we'll see you next time. May God bless you.